When I get started, can I hand these over?
Can he have this also?
This is the deal that I gave everybody on council. I made a bad calculation and I corrected on the email, but now I put it in a form here.
Okay.
Everybody get one? Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor. That's okay. Our sponsor on the fiscal year budget is our city manager, Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith, if you'd like to open the discussion.
I would. I called this at the end of the last meeting. We had consensus from everyone on how we move forward. I got some questions via email related to salaries, raises, budgets, and this is a council-approved budget. I wanted to give you the opportunity to discuss. I have attempted to answer all of your questions via email over the last couple of days with information. If you have additional questions, Mickey and I are happy to do some research. We can do that quickly as best we can. But we moved forward with the budget that we got consensus on to prepare for Tuesday night. We do have to have a public hearing. We have published that public hearing. So it's important. We can postpone this budget process until September, but we have published the public hearing for next Tuesday. So if I can answer any additional questions, or if you have additional input you would like to give that happened since last week, Mickey and I are happy to go back and work on that and do whatever we need to do. Have another meeting if we need to have another meeting. But when I start getting emails with continuous questions, I can give you information, but this is a decision this council has to make. And I would prefer we go into Tuesday with some general consensus that you're okay with where we are and the budget not get approved and us restart the process over. So I, on Friday morning, very early, requested from most of you, are you available today to have this discussion? I'm going to kick it back to you. I have not prepared any information. We left the last meeting with a general consensus. So this is for you all to discuss and ask any additional questions you might have.
May I just ask tasers? I think we took it out of the budget because somebody had purchased them.
We got a donation of tasers, which is why we took that out of the budget.
Okay, but then they've been all.
They were a box of tasers and equipment. The chief took several days. We actually received notification that we were getting a donation shortly after one of our very first, maybe even the August 7th meeting. I received notification. I think the next day Chief received notification. So Chief wanted to make sure he had what he needed. Would they work? How would they do it? I know they have now completed, most of them have even completed training, which was last week or the week before, on these tasers that they carry. So it was removed because we received a donation that the chief cleared. So
Thank you. Interesting.
I guess I left my paper at home. I know my question last time was, what was it, 76,000 was it included raises and benefits?
yes, ma'am.
And then,
And I sent that to everyone. I sent a map by person, by salary, by benefits, the whole 9 yards of what is being provided at each position and by person.
I thought this was different.
I don't know. I've not seen that document.
It is.
It is different?
Yes.
Mickey ran that out of QuickBooks, which is our payroll system.
With the information that I got, the number was different. It was 80-something thousand bucks, I guess.
Did you compare it to the, like the list side by side to see why it was different? Do you know why it was different?
Well, I can tell you, if there's a new one, I just sent it to you. That's the 11%.
There are a couple of things that can throw that number off. For example, as I mentioned in my email to you all, workman's comp. We divide it out by employee. Obviously, some employees carry more workman's comp than others. I probably have the least amount of workman's comp, but our police, fire, streets, parks, their public, but we just average it out per employee, and that's how we budget it.
Right, but if he did it, if he added it all together,
Yeah,
it still
I
should
don't-
even out,
yeah.
I mean.
It should. I was not privy to that information, therefore I'm unable to answer any questions about why there might be a difference.
It was 80, my numbers come to 80 something, it's 80, where is it? I broke this down and all I did was take last year's, payroll compared to this year, figured in the benefits, did the deal on there, and it was over 80, excuse me. A one-step raise would be $87,545. That's the number I did by pushing the numbers. Now, I know W-2s change. I'm sure there's a little bit of wrong in the calculations, but I'm just telling
Staff
you
come and
that's
go.
the number that I came up with because I took one-step raise, and you can, if you go to the chart and break it across there, and go to the one-step raise, it's gonna tell you how much each person is gonna get, and you subtract that one number from the other number, and you come up with $87,545.
Again, it's the first time I've seen this document, so I don't know.
Well, again, where did you find the difference at? Where did you find the deficit to be in the pay,
Well,
based on
because-
what the city provided? Where did you find the
Well, what,
discrepancy?
because I don't know what people are getting in W-2s. I mean, somebody could be doing this more. I had to pick an average.
W-2
There's
no
doesn't
cost
matter.
of proof on it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but if you're going off of wages and of what's been paid to that person, regardless of W-2, the hourly wage, like she said, the
Yes.
workers' comp, you're talking about Medicare, all that stuff. But if you
told
took,
that number, you told that number to this year, and you can figure out what the difference is.
I don't have time to
And
do
this
that.
compares a 40-hour week versus a 30.
You can go-
I sent you all information that was a worksheet that had what they made last year
Yes.
and what they would make. People move positions, people leave. Sometimes, perfect examples, Ryan Mutina. Ryan Mutina was at a level, he has vacated that position. If he vacates that position, then that position drops back to an A, right? So there is movement in that. So that's what Mickey took into consideration when
I
she
just
came up with her
wanted,
numbers.
to do this, and I just, seeing a budget and seeing this and seeing what the raise would do, the number that I came up with was 80, and it could be off. I'm just telling you, by the calculations of taking last year's budget and the new year budget with the, and figuring in the one-step raise or the one jump, whatever you call it, it was 87,888, yes.
Not all employees are getting the 3%. So if you're
It's
adding.
a step.
I understand, but if you'll go through on this chart, and I show you how I calculated on the way back, it gives you a breakdown of how every chart is allocated on the very last.
But is that every employee?
But it's
This is
also
every
done
employee.
by step. It's not necessarily, y'all did not agree to a across-the-board 3%
not.
raise. You agreed to
A
a step for each employee, which varies. Some a little lower, some a little more. It's just how the steps,
Most are 3%.
that's a rough estimate of 3%.
And so,
Create a large gap between the two numbers. I mean,
Well, I mean, my thought process
I don't
is she
know,
gave us
'cause
a
I don't know.
spreadsheet, right, that shows, like I said, 2025 and estimate 2026. If you could go through there and say, this one's wrong, this one's wrong, this one's wrong, so I would know. Otherwise, averages doesn't help me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong, and we want it to be right. We need it to be right, so we know what we're budgeting. But Nikki has a spreadsheet that she provided to
I
us.
took everyone that is currently employed and has been here for over a year.
Yeah,
And
that's the other
I
factor.
moved them up the scale to where they would be. I put them side by side where they are now and where they would go. And that's how I came up with the 76,000 with everything.
You also have some employees, remember we talked about this, if they started on December the 1st and they have not been here a full 12 months on October the 1st, they don't get an additional step. And remember, we talked through why they don't. So if I start at an A, at 6 months, I immediately, as a new employee, move to a B. I then must wait 1 full year as of October 1st to get moved to a C. If you did it, you would have people that had been here
3 years.
10 months working making the same as somebody that had been here 2 years, right? So I start at an A, I moved to a B at 6 months. That's the system I inherited, so that's what we continue to do. I was not extremely clear about that last year. I'm being extremely clear about it this year. If you have, on October the 1st, served 12 full months with the city of Gun Barrel City, you move up a step on the pay scale. If you have not, you then wait until you have served, so you could potentially wait an entire year to do that. But we do give a step at the 6 months evaluation point.
What happens when you get to the maximum pay scale? What happens?
They only get an increase if it's a COLA.
Okay, so, if you're off the pay scale or if it maximum the pay scale, you're saying you're not getting a raise?
Unless it's a COLA.
And this isn't a COLA?
This isn't a COLA, this is
Okay.
moving up to step.
The numbers show.
Step and COLA are two different things.
Yes, I understand.
Mickey, how long have you been here?
24 years.
And how far are you from the top? I mean, you should be there, but how
3 or
far?
4 steps.
So once you get there, no more raise, no more steps.
I think we have one employee at max.
It's on that list, it
One or
tells you who's
two,
on
yeah.
who's on
It
it.
says like 26 max. That means you're at the top. So. But again, I can't compare apples to apples. I don't have that. So you guys have what Mickey and I prepared for you
I
that
can,
compared side by side.
I can go in tomorrow and send you the sheet
I see
of
that.
where I came up with the 76.
So you're saying 76 and you're saying 86, is that what you're saying, is that right?
No,
No.
my number is, 80.
I don't know what I'm supposed to look at. Is that income that I have or not?
I don't know. It's not in there.
I'm just saying, if you did 3%, that's the first, you know.
It's 87, April, if you, the sheet you got on the last page, it says just the one step, cost of the one step raise is 87,545 with the numbers that I have.
What? I'm sorry, what?
On the original one,
I think I left that, I left a couple of different things. I think.
and that original one that I said in that packet.
Yeah, I got so much.
But ours isn't an average. The numbers we provided you is not an average. It's not a guess. It's not, it is by specific person and the time they have served this agency. And one step and benefits are a percentage of that. So each of those columns are a percentage of what their salary is or will be for the next year.
And we can leave that, but the other thing is, when we presented in the original packet talking about all the money that's coming in, and I took every one of those, because I asked for a correct figure, and I took the figure that you give us that are projected, and all the incomes were, 201%, 335%, 43%, 49%, 10%, 20% higher than average. I took all those numbers and I took the negative numbers that you presented to us, and there's a difference of $837.
We presented council with a sheet in both your amended proposed, outlining all of the revenues year over year. So in my slideshow, I picked some things we had been specifically focusing on that we have seen some increases in revenues and explained why there were those increases. Short-term rentals, TABC, fines. We explained those specifically. We took 3 or 4 that were dropping that I am concerned about, and I presented those. In the budget, you can easily see year over year the difference in revenue, budgeted and actual, on the first page, one of the very first pages of the budget that's available. So
Jake, on
Let me tell you what I
the
did.
new one we have is 43,651.
That's correct.
The previous one that you said was
And-
incorrect
yes.
is 87,500.
Yes.
So which is the correct one, just so we're only dealing with that one?
Okay. This right here, I was figuring on what 4 hours are, 4 employees, 52 hours. I did this, I put some other employees in there, and if you look on the bottom down here, I said I excluded the police officer Stevens. I put those in there by accident because I was going and I rounded up the full-time employee to 3. The original document rounded down to 3.4 to 3 as per the statement, Gun Barrel City paid for 3 employees. That doesn't exist. So I'm saying that this number was wrong. The one that says 43 is correct. And I sent that in a text to everybody, on our website.
Well,
This is just a revise of this.
So I'm a little bit confused, I'm just asking, because again, that's a lot of numbers you did, but if 2024 to 2025 would have only cost me $43,651 to a 3% raise, and they did not get a raise, so it's still the same pay as a year ago,
Okay.
how is 3% today costing me $87,000?
But it's not. I gave that, that's the wrong number.
Uh-oh.
This is the right number, 43,000.
But I thought we just,
I just told you that this was done, and I sent an email to everybody.
no, I know that, but I thought we just, before all that, I thought, because we're saying, how much are you saying that the increase in the?
Roughly
What I'm
76.
saying is I took all the employees, this is what, if we would have given a raise,
Mhm.
okay, a 3% raise and 25, it would have cost this. When you figure in 4 hours, 28 employees for 52 weeks, is what you're doing. And you tell the hours, that comes to $143,000 that we pay for non-existent labor.
Right, but what I'm asking is, you're saying in here that a 3% raise in 24 to 25 would have costed $43,651, correct? Okay, the income did not change, the payroll did not change from 25 to 20, you know what I'm saying, because we didn't give, okay, I understand what you're saying, but please listen to my question, okay? My question is, if 3% raise last year on the exact same payroll today was $43,651 last year, how is it more this year?
I'll explain this to you. This right here is the actual dollars that you pay, not what comes out of Gun Barrel's bank account, because we gotta match. We gotta pay health insurance, benefits, match their social security, and it averages about 28.
Okay, so you're saying this is, so basically you're saying the 3% raise in 24 to 25 really would have been 87,000,
That is correct.
not 43,000. So it's a little bit misrepresenting there. So I just want to make sure, because I was trying to understand how that math was calculating. How's it costing me double this year than last year? So it would have cost me 87,000 last year. No, so,
Costing you 76 or whatever.
yeah, so, yeah,
Can you
so it's
explain
just a
to
little
me
bit.
though, what Gun Barrel paid for 3 employees that didn't exist? I just don't understand what that
Okay,
is.
let me explain something to you. If you took 4 hours, now let's go to this main chart. 4 hours, we got, and these are the people that are on, they're excluding, so that's where I messed up. I put some of the police officers in there, okay? And they're not in that deal working the flex schedule, okay?
They are though.
Hold on.
So this isn't, the admins
So-
are. But patrol
Stevens-
isn't.
Stevens, Katsoulis, and Simmons are working 4 day shifts.
Right, that's what, oh, okay,
And
yes.
he excluded them, but they are working 4 days.
Yes, because admin,
Okay,
yes.
so we can go either way, but I'm just saying, if you took 28 employees, Brian, and you added 4 hours to every employee a week, okay? Or and did 4 hours for 52 weeks, that's 5,824 hours that we're paying, that's coming out of our, because all we did is change, instead of giving them the raise, we went ahead and gave them the 4-hour flex, or whatever y'all are calling it.
But that's not real money.
It isn't. It isn't, we're still paying.
No, you're missing what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're still getting the work done. I don't really understand
We,
why did we really lose $142,000? Can someone show me on any of these sheets where we lost $142,603? And now you got my attention.
where does it say $143,000?
On the last one you just said,
The top right corner.
$142,603.
$43,000.
No, that's right.
No, right here.
Top right
The
corner.
money paid for non-existent, where did we lose this money?
If we just average the hours out.
No, I'm talking about, Jay, I'm being simple, but I'm just talking about real money, because that's all I talk about is real money.
Okay.
Not a perceived amount. I'm just talking about numbers that are on a sheet.
Because-
Where did we lose that money?
Because we had to pay it, because we're paying them for a 40-hour week.
But it was paid out. It's not, we didn't.
But it's,
pay extra.
and
And
that's
we're not
correct.
losing?
No, we're not losing, and
We're
of
not
course you
losing.
gotta take in consideration if we'd given them a raise, that is their raise, you know what I'm saying? That was, so they
Yes.
were supposed to be, it is a compensation. So yes, it's gonna cost money, right? Even though, because they're working less hours, we're paying the same amount, that's their raise. So, I mean,
But what we're paying for is services.
yes.
If the services do not change, I don't really understand what the argument is.
I don't I mean, most Texas cities, most small Texas cities, the school districts are moving to 4-day work weeks.
Yeah, and the teachers are all being paid the
As a benefit
same.
to the teachers.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we chose to do last year because we didn't feel comfortable giving raises at that point. Now it's time to talk about raises. So what you're saying is we're not gonna give raises ever again because we gave them a 4-day work week, so they're good. For how long, Jay?
Who voted on this? Did you vote on this last year?
Yes, and we were gonna readdress it at mid-budget.
And we did.
No, we were going to reevaluate it to make
Reevaluate.
sure that it was working, because had it not worked, had services dropped, had the people not doing
And we
work.
had that discussion.
Yes, we did.
I'm just telling you where I'm at.
But also, I think it's a little bit when you're only figuring in 43,000 out of 142,000, acting like we gave them that 90, we lost that much money, when really it's 85,000 versus 142. But again, it's a benefit for the employees. I think increased morale, efficiency, and like I said, they haven't missed a lick. And Angie's comment that I believe that sometimes, and I'm sorry for overstepping, that these employees come in on their time off, is that their job has to be completed, and their hours don't always be Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, 6, or whatever time it is they work. They want to make sure their work gets done, and it sometimes happens that way. So they're not unhappy. They don't want to be 4-day work week taken away and compensated for that like it's a failure, because it's not. They are enjoying it very much, which I wish I had 4-day work week, you know what I'm saying? But we really didn't lower their hours. It's not like they're working 32
Well,
hours.
let's also remember the events that we put on, okay?
All the
Let's
time,
Let's
thank
remember
you.
July Fest. Let's remember the Christmas parade. Let's
They
remember the
work
Easter egg hunt.
their
They're always there too, and those are, they should be compensated for that, right?
I just wanted them to see it. And
I know, I just don't want the public to get misrepresented.
Yeah, thinking that
by
we're actually
numbers.
paying 3
It's
people that
kinda like
don't
what we did
exist, like
the other day,
we're
and you and I talked about
frauding
this.
money.
We just can't do an average and say, well, everybody's basically making $70,000, because that, I don't want somebody who can't think for themselves, okay? Seeing a guy out here, mowing his yard, trying to put, Hunger Man dinners with a family of 5, is making $32,000, he's busting his tail. And everybody goes, look, there's the guy just mowing yards making $70,000, because that's what we did. We lump summed it, and it's all different. That's kind of what Mickey's saying. I understand that there's issues for that, because we have a thin budget. We have a real thin ice that we walk on. I get that. But I just don't want it to be represented like that. When we have discussions, I don't want to put it out there that people can like run with their imagination. I want to just stick with real numbers. And I understand the point you're making, but when we put this out in the public, they don't understand and have all of the numbers in front of them like we do. I think that's just a bit of a misrepresentation.
Very
I
misleading.
And
don't
this
mean
is
anything
misrepresented.
by it.
But let me explain something to you.
87,000.
That right there, what we were presented was misleading to us. As far as revenues coming in, because we were given a percentage and a decrease, that is misrepresentation. Instead of giving me a clear picture, that is misrepresentation.
Okay, so I want to be crystal clear. When you were presented that slideshow, you had this in your hand and could look at 22, 23, 24. I picked out a few things we have seen an increase in, and I picked out a few things we are predicting seeing decreases in. All of that information is right here, proposed revenue detail. You have every column, and you can look at the bottom. You can see the difference in 22, 23 actual, 24 actual, what we budgeted in 25, where we are. You each get monthly reports every month with this sheet on it with actuals. So your city manager did absolutely not misrepresent. I gave you some highlights of these are some things we have seen increases in revenues in, and these are some things we have seen decreases in
But you
revenue.
can't think that that's all our expenses or income, and just a little.
That was the comparison she gave to us.
I didn't. It was one slide that showed here are 3 or 4 things we're seeing increases, and here are 3 or 4 things we're seeing decreases in.
That was just a
One
snapshot.
slide.
That wasn't not a.
Well, if they say, you can't say, you have to know that that's not all the income we get, this is not all the expenses that we.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, I'm speaking from the truth here.
No, you're
don't-
questioning my integrity, and I have a problem with that.
I'm just saying, instead of saying, giving me $836, that makes the picture look better. Okay, I understand. I'm sorry you take it that way, but that's the way I see it. But I want to say one other thing. Here's the deal. I brought y'all a comparison. I've tried to tell you about a city that's doing this, and I've looked at the national average, and I've looked at our towns, and I can tell you, if we keep spending and keep getting our payroll up, it's 75% of our total budget. And eventually,
But again, Jay, you and I've had this discussion, and you're bright guy, you've had your own business. We're not gonna be at $5.6 million the rest of our lives. We've got a really capable guy that I think is gonna be a huge asset.
Not just that, but
That's good, we have.
we already have Pier 334 coming, which shouldn't.
We have
I mean,
H2O, we have some other things that are in the works that are gonna increase all of this.
Those are
And you and I know this. Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Jay. I'm gonna bet on myself.
Okay.
I'm gonna bet on my town, and I'm gonna bet on the people that I'm in bed with, that we're gonna make things better. Because if I'm gonna be the eternal optimist, or pessimist, then that doesn't help anybody. I'm good for being frugal, and we need to be that, and we need to be fiscally responsible. I get all that. But I'm gonna bet on myself. You know as well as I do, because you and I have similar political value. You know that this economy is already turning around. You know it's going to be better. You know the minute you and I have had this conversation, when interest rates drop, things are going to get better. It's going to be better for everyone. And that's why you voted how you did. Okay? So we have to believe in all of that. And we have to believe in ourselves. And yes, I hear the landlocked thing all the time. But you can drive up and down here and see how many empty buildings we have.
I understand.
And I can tell you, this guy, you'll very rarely ever see him over there. He's going to be pounding the streets. And I like him for several reasons, okay? But I know he's a competitor because that's what coaches are. They're competitors. And I like the guy. But I'm going to bet on him. I'm going to gamble. Have we been burned? Absolutely we have. But if we continue just to go, well, here's another guy that's going to just take us down the freaking river, and we can't do that anymore. And we need to be responsible. I love numbers like this, but it bothers me when people, and you know exactly the people I'm talking about, they go out there, and I promise you, all this will be out on the internet and totally misrepresented, but just the way they did the dog thing and all that, and it just bothers me. You know, I want people to know the truth, and it's sad because we've had town halls, people don't show up, but sometimes it's just not represented the way it should be. In a true format, and people run with those things, and it's just not fair.
Well, it's like this one, I mean, you're saying the 3% raise will cost me $43,000, but that's not true. You're saying it's gonna cost me $87,000. How come this isn't say $87,000 right here on this piece of paper that they're sharing on Facebook? How come?
Because I did them all from the base pay without benefits.
But that's not, but I'm just saying but that's not a true statement.
It's not true.
You're telling me today it's gonna cost me,
What does it say on there?
a 3% raise would have costed $43,651.
And if you want to add the benefits, put the number on there.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? It's a
20%, you add
manipulation.
that up.
It's a manipulation of trying to make us look like we have this larger
Well, if I
gap.
want to manipulate the data and make it look higher, I would have put the benefits on there, correct?
No, because then you would have realized that it really wasn't that big a difference between what they got and what we would have gave them. You're trying to make it to be a bigger gap so we can see that.
You can write a book any way, you can write it
That's
this way
right.
or that way.
That's right.
Okay?
But I'm just saying that would have been a truer number. I'm just saying.
Okay.
If, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
all good. I'm just sharing the information I compiled.
How you spend it.
How you spend it.
You spend wrong.
But if we're continually bringing
Okay.
in new business, and we're bringing in sales tax revenue, and who knows, I'll throw this out here, I talked to the city manager before. Let's say when we top out at everything, we've exhausted everything, every building's filled, and we're at $9.5 million. And we couldn't fit a ice machine in anything, and that's all we got. Then maybe that's a time to revisit a whole nother topic. But we haven't even come close to that. And we've got some good momentum right now. We really do have some momentum. And has it been a struggle? Yeah. And we're one of 2 or 3 cities in all the state of Texas. You know this, that are sales tax revenue only. We're a unique situation. But I just don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I just want to, let's exhaust our resources first. And then when we cross that bridge, then we'll get to it. You know what I'm saying?
I just wanted to share that data with you.
No, I get it. I get it. And if we're stuck at 5.6, and that's all we get, and we only make 100,000 every year for the next 5 years.
How much were we over budget this year? We hadn't closed out yet.
We haven't closed out. We're not,
How much were we at deficit? Was it last year?
we haven't been in deficit at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm using the wrong terminology.
But we've never
We've never-
overspent.
Okay.
Ever.
No,
Well, okay.
we're not over budget this year.
Let me explain something to you. The 76% of our budget goes to payroll, over $4 million. That's including benefits, okay? And that is a recurring cost. That number is gonna keep climbing. You're not gonna go backwards on it. And we just pulled, I think it was last year, we pulled 7.4%.
Okay.
We pulled 7.4% out of operations, which is stuff doing it for the public, fixing asphalt and the things to do things. If that number keeps climbing, I mean, it's a vicious cycle, and I just want everybody to be aware of it.
Okay, but how does that, like you keep telling me that the salaries are going up, but you're not talking about the revenues going up either. You're painting a picture where the revenues are stagnant and everything is going up there, and I'm in this pool with a ceiling and the water keeps rising and I'm never gonna have a way out.
Okay.
That's why we have an EDC director. That's why we promote our city the way we do. That's why on the weekends, we go from 7,000 to 12,000 people here. I mean, because we got people coming in here. We have an incredible resource. You and I have talked about this when we've been on the EDC and all these other boards. We're the hub of the Lakeplex. Well, I don't think we've maximized that opportunity. But that's just me. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you are. I get that. And I'm fine with all that. I just don't want to misrepresent out in the public numbers that they can run with, and I guarantee it'll be out there, and then it's like we cried wolf. I don't want to do that. That's not a real.
I don't live on expectations. I want to be more conservative. If we got the mid-budget, mid-year, and the money's there, then we can reallocate. That's just the way I.
So the guy you voted for, you don't think he had expectations?
No, everybody
He
has-
threw, Jay, stop now. He threw everything out there at everybody. He painted a real pie in the sky, right? He had expectations. He had belief in his policies and what he was doing. That's why he got elected. And so you have to allow that, right? He believed in himself. He gambled on himself, did he not? That's a simple question. Yes, he
Yes, he
did.
did.
Well, that's what we're doing, right? And I just don't want to misrepresent that and then everybody think this is all doom and gloom and everybody's riding around in goddamn Bentleys and Teslas. And that's just not the case. It just isn't the case at all.
Just
And,
stated my case.
I get it.
Because
And
I represent the people that live in this town.
Jay,
I
I'm in
think I
this.
represent the people that live in this town. Do
I
you represent
understand,
the people
but
that live in this town? Do you
I sure
represent the
hope
people
so.
that live in this
We
town?
all
I sure hope so.
We all let you-
Jay, I know the neighborhood you live in, those guys aren't hurting. Okay, some of those boys have plug-in cars. I mean, they're all fine.
I live
I
right
think we're
next to
just-
the RV park too.
Okay, but that's the lake. You can have a 75,000 square foot home in an RV park, you know that. But don't act like you're only representing the South Dallas poor and these people are out there with everything they own in a shopping cart. That's just not
I think
true.
that, I understand where, in the long run, you're gonna be right, eventually, one day, whether it be in my
If we
lifetime
don't
or
make
not.
any more.
It's gonna get there. And I'm saying it's going to be there. But what's gonna have to happen, unfortunately, eventually, is when we can't do what we can't do. I mean, I'm hoping that, I don't know if they'll pass an ad valorem to make a difference. I don't know if the city will go bankrupt. I don't know, whatever. But today, we have the people here that are doing the service, that do the work, and I mean, I don't know how you don't compensate them for the job that they do. And I think that Gun Barrel is unique, the fact that, I mean, you think about how many people has been here long-term, and how long they've been here. And so, of course, that pays to contribute to, I mean, if we had turnover all the time, everybody be A's. You know what I'm saying? But we don't, because we must be doing something, right? The people are staying and doing a good job and representing the city. And so, while I think,
I love it.
while I think you gotta be
Me
mindful
too.
of what you're spending versus what you're giving, And I think that that day may be coming, but I just don't know if we should give up today.
Okay.
Are there
You have
any,
something to say?
are there any other questions? So based on the proposed amended budget that I presented to council, that we got consensus on at the last meeting, I sent you the email. The computers are 70-ish. I don't have that number right in front of me, per year, for 4 years. It is a subscription service, right? So it's a little like Netflix. We pay it every year. At the end of 4 years, we continue paying it. We get new computers every 4 years if we continue paying that subscription service. It's not really a lease, it's more of a subscription service. Coming with that is better warranty, better service. If something breaks, there are some things in there. I sent that all to you mapped out in detail, so I don't want to be misinterpreted. You got it all in an email. We did that, and we moved the $29,000 out back to capital improvement, where we had taken it out initially. And so I have one here somewhere.
I have to change that back.
So Nikki and I have put together, based on that, the annual budget. I'm still putting together the capital improvement list. So if you remember, we do a 5-year capital improvement list. I needed some information from my department heads. I received that this morning and this afternoon while I was in jury duty. I need to update that list. And there are a few other things we need to put in here. And then we will publish this and hold our budget public hearing at our next council meeting, which is next Tuesday. So tonight was important because we have to publish an agenda tomorrow. So if
Okay.
there's no other questions, then that's why we did this.
We've got a few. Okay, so let's talk about the police budget.
Okay.
I just need someone to explain to me, like, and Chief Stevens, you feel free to speak on this. The state training fund, it's 40,000, correct?
Minus what they've spent this year, right? It has not been taken out of that number?
Well, speak to this,
Why
if you
don't
can.
Can you?
Sure.
Actual numbers, I don't really know. I can't think
Look at
it
these.
was 22,000 that we had.
I think there's like 34,000 in there. Of that, 22 belongs to the police department. None of the money spent this year out of the general fund budget has been moved from that fund yet. The way that I do it is, I take it all out of general fund because I have to send out 1099s at the end of the year, and everything is under one book. And then I move the money, I'll send Keith the report, and then I'll move that money out of that into the general fund, and it's all the same, it just comes out of one fund and transfers out of the other. I have not moved that money for this year yet.
And so he has, out of that, so in that fund, before you take it out, he has 22,000 in there. Is that?
It's around 22.
I thought it was 34.
I think there's 34 in it, but
Okay.
22 belongs to, I can't remember.
And then how
exactly.
much out of that 22,000 has the PD spent this year that you're gonna take out of there?
I don't know yet, he hasn't gotten me that number.
So that's where I come, it's hard for me for like their training budget for next
Let
year.
me
Then
see.
how can I?
We can look
I?
at June financials, and I can tell you what
I
they've
have
spent out of
that
their budget. Give me just a minute. Because it would have all been taken out of general fund. I apologize, I wasn't aware we needed this number, so.
No.
let
Well, I
me-
thought that when.
No, let me, I can tell you in June financials. Hold on, I don't have any internet.
I have that printout.
What she just sent me today.
Yeah, let me see what's in June financials. They're working through what's coming in and out. I don't know that I can read it.
That's
I
not how
can-
much you have, that's just how
I
much.
can
it
pull
brought
up
from
June financials and tell you,
Oh, yeah, that.
give me 2 seconds. It's
So this
easily
is for
accessible on the
May.
website. Financials, current monthly financials. June 2025, Mickey has July done, it is not up yet, but the balance in the Law Enforcement Education Fund as of June of 2025, the last day of June, was $34,112. A portion of that belongs to my fire department because Joey was his own police department as a fire marshal. he was T-Cole certified, so a portion of that belongs to fire, which my fire department can't currently use because they don't have a T-Cole certified officer, has to be used by a T-Cole certified officer. The remainder, is, dedicated to the police. Let me pull up the police budget. Back this way.
Keep going.
Not in alphabetical order.
Right there, no.
Personnel supplies.
Police department, if you go down to meals and lodging, they've spent $9,871. Out of travel, they've spent $2,251. And out of tuition and education, they've spent $2,937. Nope, that's not right. Hold on, hold on.
That's,
Give me a second. I can't read the top. The budget, okay, so the budget for tuition and education was $4,000. They've spent $6,937. Meals and lodging, the budget was $3,000. They've spent $12,871. Travel was $1,000, and they've spent $3,251.
Out of, that's a lot of numbers you just threw to me. Out of all those numbers, how much, I mean, how much do you take out of the fund? I mean, how much is it that we put in our budget for that, and how much comes out of the?
We budgeted for police training, travel, meals and lodging for
8,000?
5, 6, 7, 8,000. And they have spent,
Dude, add those up right there, and that'll tell you what it's over.
The overages, the over budget.
can't see the top, so I'm struggling because I don't spend as much time with this as Mickey does.
Okay.
Tell me what to add up,
So the meals and lodging, they're over $2,937.49,
okay? Oh, wait. 37.49.
then $9,871. And then travel $2,251.91. That's what they're over budget.
So $15,060.
$15,060? No, that's over budget.
That's over
So he
budget.
spent more than that, but that's over budget. And so out of that, do you take all that out of the 22, or how does that work?
And we do need to look at this because I'm not sure why meals and lodging is $12,000. I'm not sure where we went and stayed and ate that would have been $12,000. So I need to look at that and make sure that's in the right place. We usually do that at the end.
He's got a breakout of the whole thing.
So we need to look at that and
Should be in
verify.
here, yeah?
It's not the detail.
It won't be in this.
Yeah, that doesn't have all of the dollars attached, it's still work in progress. So I do need to look at how did we spend $12,871 on meals and lodging?
But even if you did, let's just, I mean,
Yeah, if
okay.
you did.
My question is, out of that, so if he overspent 15,000, so he spent the
Yep.
general fund budget, he's got 15,000 overage, and if that number is true,
Yes.
does all of that come out of that extra
Yes.
fund?
I don't know, because I don't know what can come out of that fund, and they do. So he would have to tell me, like, can dispatchers' education be taken out of that fund now? I don't know.
I don't know about the dispatchers, that was all law enforcement really. Well, no, some of that was dispatchers, so yes.
Yeah, so some of it can come out of that fund and some of it can't. So if, let's just say for grins and giggles, right, at the close of budget on September the 31st, Keith is $15,060 over in his travel and training budget. He and Mickey then sit down and look at every expense, this can come out, this can't, and then he moves, Mickey would transfer over the difference up to the amount that we can. Now, at the end of the day, in municipal government, we're looking for $0, right? So they could have saved some money in communications. We had a $15,000 communication budget, we only spent $8,483. There's $6,000 in there we didn't spend this year. We're gonna use that overage in the general fund before we pull money out of Leo's.
Yeah, if
So
I
we're
don't
gonna
have
look
to
at
move
that
money, I won't.
bottom dollar before we move a dime out of the Leo's fund.
Right, so I guess my concern is with not knowing that information, what's coming out of what, if he does have leftover money, maybe he doesn't have leftover money, I don't know, it's just that, and he hasn't, according to what, I haven't really got to look at this, that they're not putting a lot of money, it doesn't go into that fund, they just haven't used it for a very long time. And now they have.
If I don't have to move it, I don't move it.
Right, and now they have. I just want to make sure that they have the money that they need for training, because if you end up taking that 15,000 out there, he's only going to have 7,000 $300,000 in there, he's not gonna have enough money for training this year.
I haven't moved any of that money yet. That's something that we've got to get together to do. If I don't have to move money out of that fund, like, I don't know where that came that we were over budget, so I'm a little thrown by that one, but.
And yeah, I know as a general we have.
I'm looking at our numbers right now, and I may not have to move money out of capital improvement. I may not have to move money out of their special fund. I may not have to move money out of their law enforcement education fund. If our budget balances without us going over, I won't do that, which we haven't in the past several years. That's why that fund has built up like it has.
I think the other element is ensuring what is the training plan, right? So I have to get from the chief what officers need to attend what training to make sure they have the required hours. That's another element we have to figure out. And Keith may have sent that. I have it from almost everybody. I can't tell you right off the top of my head because I have 9,000 documents. That's the reality of this, right? But most have sent me their training plan so that we can ensure we stay within budget, which is something we did different this year. So my fire chief, I know because he and I had to do some negotiations. I talked to some of you about this. Colby sent me over, my interim fire chief sent me over his. He was gonna have 3 officers do a plan review and 3 firemen do this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's slow down a minute. Let's look at this, right? If this is your budget, what do these folks need in addition to just the every Monday training you do? How many plan reviewers do I need on staff? I don't need 9. I need 2 or 3 based on shifts and that kind of stuff. I need 2 or 3 inspectors that Lauren could call and say, hey, I got a CO, you got to go do a fire inspection. So some of that had to be pared down. What training is needed to get the right hours and how is that available? That's something we've got to start looking at. This year we did computers, I did some training, we did car inventories better. But that's stuff we have to start paying attention to because you have a budget as a department head.
Right.
So can I say today, if that money stopped today, would we have enough money? I don't know, because I don't know that I've done a deep enough dive into what is required. One of the things we added was training software, right? So we can do better training for officers. So I don't know that I can with confidence give you an answer.
And I know those are hard questions. It's just that, I mean, and it, it doesn't seem like an unrealistic ask. I want my officers to be trained,
Sure.
I mean, more than basic training. I mean, the better they are, the better we are.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to limit them to where they don't have any training money, so I don't know how to do that today.
Yeah.
Or if it's something we have to budget.
The other thing we can do is y'all have heard me say this about grant money, right? If I get a grant request and we need $10,000 to match a grant, that is exactly what reserve funding should be used for. It's one-time stuff, right? Not capital, because that has been dedicated to capital equipment and projects, but that's what those reserves are intended for. If suddenly we realized we really needed to do X, and we had 3 officers, we just went to flock. Maybe that was all paid for. I don't know. We just sent 2 people to Chicago to go to flock training. I haven't seen those reports and stuff, so I don't know yet. Maybe they paid for 100% of it. If something came up that we needed to do specific training for, we realized that we're not where we should be, because I don't know, right? Is $5,000 in training enough, or do we need $25,000? I can't answer that today. Maybe the chief can.
Can you speak to that?
Have we mapped it out for the entire year, what everybody would be required to do?
25,000 would be great.
That's not the question.
No, yeah.
That's not the question.
The thing about it, we got 15 officers and 5 dispatchers that we got all state requirement stuff to do, which a lot of that we can get out of OSS, with online training platform, okay? But some of those classes, like alert, it's a mandated class now, every single officer in the United States got it pretty much taken, okay? Some of those classes we can get local, but at times we don't have it, and then we're on a deadline, and we got to send somebody else to go and do it. So it's a balancing act to try to get them all into the mandated training that we have to do, okay? I don't have anybody that specializes in accident reconstruction. We have a fatality accident out here. We can't handle that. We got to call for help from outside to come in.
DPS.
So I
The county?
mean, there's a lot of
Absolutely.
specialized training that we've got to do, and being out here where we're at, none of that training is done out here. That's all done up in the Metroplex or somewhere San Antonio that we gotta send and put somebody up for. So those trainings are special and few and far between, but with our turnover rate, the training isn't ever going deal, because most of the people we're getting are straight out of the academy. Okay, so they have no training except for reading a book, because that's basically all they do in the academy to get them out. And then we gotta put them through the FTO program, we gotta do the continuing ed training. So, I mean, it's really kind of hard.
We don't have a list, is the answer. We do not have a list of what retraining is required for every officer and what that would cost for the next
Just makes it
year.
hard for us
Well,
to come
I
up
think
with.
it's like $300 per person, is that right? Does that sound right? $300 just to do the minimum, and we're just talking the minimum, you know what I'm saying, not doing any extra
Yeah.
training, which is about, you know, and of course you got lodging. And I know, but I just want to make sure, because I know, of course, for me, I do budgets for different things, and a budget's a working budget. That's why I call it, it's a working budget. It means it always moves where it needs to be. But in the city, I do see where they, you know, they get told no, you know what I'm saying, if they exceed their, well, I guess they didn't get told no with that, but I mean, exceeds their
I mean,
budget.
So that's a perfect example of, did you get told no?
They do not get told no.
Mhm.
So
Do not.
we overspent $15,000 already this year. So to say they're told no is
And I'm
not
not saying anyone told me that, but
Oh,
I mean, I
no, they
know.
are. They are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, you know, that, and I understand it, because if everybody went over $15,000 on every line item, I mean, we would be in trouble. I just want to make sure that we're trying to set everyone up
Yeah.
with what they need, you know, to get what they need done.
And
Yeah, we do have the
I will
opportunity
say,
to pull if somebody needs.
Well, not over, but like, your budget, you went over 15,000 in
We're not gonna tell them
training.
no.
Technically, it didn't.
Correct, and
On
that's,
paper, on
correct.
our budget, it shows I did.
correct, until they move the money over from the Leos.
And-
But what she's saying is that since you asked for more than what was in the budget, you were still allowed to do it, is what she, you know, because I need to make sure that the training is there, that you need is available. Because we're giving you $2,000, well, in the budget, it's $2,000, which is not a lot of money for, you know, to do that.
And I don't want to speak for all of council, but, and everybody jump in if you don't feel this way. But, you know, pay, we do the best we can, right? What we're doing is what we got to deal with. But, I mean, you guys, everybody knows that. That's not a secret in the department, right? But if there's other things that we can do, incentives and things that we can help with, that helps make it as attractive as maybe another place that's just about the money. If we can do things like that, we want to know that also. We want to try to help with that. That's just part of it. I mean, we will never be able to compete with somebody that's just about the money. I'll be honest with you. And I've told coaches that, you know, if you're just about the money, this is the wrong place, man. If you want a great style of living, great cost of living, all that kind of good stuff, and great lifestyle, great. But that's what we want to, and right now with a tight budget and being the way we are, we have to look to those. We have to be creative. We have to be able to come up with ways to entice people to want to be here. You know, it's got to be a credible working environment, right? That there's got to be, if there's overtime pay, maybe we spread the overtime out, you know, over more people. I don't know, whatever we can do, but we've all got to kind of roll up our sleeves. It's just a time in our city's history that we just got to be a lot more creative and work towards incentivizing individuals to want to work here and want to be a part of it. I don't want anyone to be here that doesn't want to be here and just says, well, I can't find anything else. Well, that's not a great employee, I can promise you.
Well, they'll be gone eventually.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and one of the challenges that we have in Gun Barrel, and I'm very frank and honest with council about this, we've made some process improvements. Another process improvement is your department head understanding their budget and managing their budget, right?
Right.
I know exactly what it costs me to go to training, but I come from a world where my department head, and we have leaned on Mickey a lot in the past, and we've spent a lot of hard hours with her and my department heads over the last year. This is your budget. Don't just give it to me and say I need more money. What are you spending it on? Why are we spending it? How are we spending it? And, you know, today, I can't tell you some things.
Yeah.
But that's okay because we're learning and we're figuring it out.
Absolutely.
And we had to have a very hard budget conversation recently that it takes every single department. I don't care for sales tax. We're not cutting streets because if we do that, we got a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Right? And so we had to have, these guys will tell you, a very hard conversation about, this is your budget. If you can't tell me why you can't live without it, because what has happened over time is, oh yeah, I need this. Well, it's all in office supplies. What are you doing with when I started, one department had $13,000 worth of office supplies. Office supplies and supplies. What are we doing with that? So a lot of that savings you saw came from that. I didn't stop buying asphalt, but we did start looking at, what are we buying out of office supplies, and do we need desk fans and stand-up desks and special light bulbs, or do we need, what do we need? So when I say we
What
had a
we want,
savings
what we
in
need.
operations, what should the business be buying you? And that was across this organization an issue. So I want to know that we know exactly what we're going to spend in training, right? Well, who needs training, what training, and how much is it going to cost me to do that? And I can map that out for the next 4 years.
Yep.
But I got to know what that is. And again, Keith may have sent me that. I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not saying he didn't. Some did. You know, one of the things Grace confirmed with our attorney is that she can pay for some of court training out of the time payment fee account. Because she was like, hey, I need to do this. This is what it's going to cost. What are my options? Can I use? So she called her attorneys for her association. She called TML. She called our attorney and figured out she could take some of her training out of that. So when you see the special funds, you'll see that there's some training coming out of that for courts because that is allowed.
So back to what Brian was asking, I guess, was there any incentives that we could use? Are you want to give us your opinion on any incentives?
Incentives for the police department,
Yeah, just to help retention, because
take home cars are always good. I mean, I live in Terrell. I've got Irving officers, I got Garland officers, patrol officers, you got take home cars that are driving on Terrell. So, I mean, that's a plus for some people when they're on duty. You know, the 4 days or 5 days they're on, they take it home, carry it back. Our certificate pay increase, I pushed for that for years.
What is that?
Our certification pay.
Oh,
I think it's for people who have degrees or something, right?
It's advanced and masters
Yeah.
and
Intermediate.
license.
I sent that out to cancel what those
It's
three
for-
are.
okay.
fire, dispatch, and police.
And it's not included in your numbers because it's paid in September of each year. So,
how much extra would it cost for a take-home?
well, I will tell you, I came from an organization that you didn't take it outside of 30 minutes, right? If you lived over 30 minutes, you didn't have a take-home car because we cover gas. That takes a car out of service on those nights. They shouldn't get called back if there's a night officer, right? Yes, there's a benefit to it, but there should be a range. When I started, we had an investigator that was taking a car home to wherever Clemo lived, right? So, I think you gotta balance that. Do you have enough vehicles? What's the wear and tear on that vehicle? What's the cost of gas for that vehicle when they're driving it home? So all of that kind of plays into my argument would be we should do a policy about that if we're going to do it and look at what other cities do that do take home. We don't even let our street superintendent take his truck home and he lives in town.
You want, Mike, you're talking about Mike? He doesn't take a vehicle home?
Nope,
You gotta take into consideration too liability,
sure.
a lot of liability.
Why? I had a complaint when Clemo was taking his home that he was speeding down the highway. So there's all of that plays in. I'm not saying it's a bad idea and I'm not saying it's a benefit we could consider, but we should look at a policy that mandates it. What is gas cost? What is all of those things before we put that on the table?
The miles.
The mileage on each car. We're slim, right?
Yeah.
So I did have, because I asked the question too, because I know that, I hate to say we're at the bottom of the pay, but compared to other people, which I know we can't compare ourselves to anybody because we're a special ag, if you will. And again, people want to be here, but it would cost about $5,000 in fuel. That does not count wear and tear or mileage or whatever. And as far as the vehicles go, my understanding is, and please can tell me if I'm wrong, is that I guess that only when they're on duty, because they work 5 on, 5 off, that car is, I call, checked out to that person and no one else drives that vehicle, even if it just sits on the lot.
They don't drive 5 on 5. They don't work 5 on 5 off though. I can pull up police timesheets right now. I showed them to you
Yeah.
today.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going by what I was told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled them up and showed them to the mayor today. For several pay periods.
Yes.
So they all vary, I don't, it doesn't, again, I'm happy to do.
Well, I'm just saying that no one supposedly drives that vehicle when they're, I'm just going by the
I don't
information
know
that's
either.
provided.
I don't know.
So just,
Just our problem.
So, I mean, there are definitely options, right?
Sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's gonna cost that much, then you might as well just roll it into a raise.
5,000
Or-
into 20 people, 15
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
Or, how many patrol? I was trying to think out loud. Take-home car was just patrol?
Just
And there's 10,
That's
9,
5,000 per
currently
person.
9. How many is that, I'll count.
So we have 7 right now. We have 2 vacancies.
Correct? 2 police
And
and
patrol,
2 dispatch, or 1 dispatch?
Dispatch will.
No.
It's not a good position.
I thought they just hired one.
We did, Sharon left to go.
Oh, that's right, Sharon just left. So one short in dispatch.
But in the budget, it's budgeted for all of them, right? Because I was trying to think, that when I was counting them on the
Yeah.
piece of
We
paper,
budget-
I was like,
we
I've
just
got
dropped,
9 and
so
5 and.
if Sharon has been here and would have been a 38C and she leaves, it drops to a 38A, so that by default will change your budget numbers you have if she left in the last week,
Well,
right?
and there's another thing too, like on that list of everyone's salaries, if it's an open position, it says open, and then it has their pay of what they'll make when they're here after 6 months.
Yeah.
So that pay is,
In the budget.
yeah, it's increased, so that could be too where our numbers are off, because those positions are open, those people aren't making that much money right
But we
now.
can't budget half a year at one rate and half a year at a
Right.
different rate,
So
because
you
it's
gotta
gonna
know.
be at 6 months, that's what we
Right.
budget them at, so. A little bit of savings there.
Which is the other part on the incentives that you talked about, which there's no way we'll get that fixed this year. But we got a step plan. But there's no set way of stepping. And we've got people that've been here 24 years and haven't topped out on a 10-year step plan.
Funny.
So, if we could get something set in stone that, every year you move a step. Because competing with a neighboring city that starts a couple $100 more than we do. But their people are told when they start there in 10 years, you will be making $71,000 a year because they automatically move that step. I hire somebody and I can't tell them what they're gonna be making next year because it's all up to whether we get a raise or we get a step or we don't get anything.
And that's hard for us,
It makes
though.
life hard for us.
And it makes it hard for us. I mean, I want to pay you $100,000. I mean, I wouldn't want to do what you do. But again, it depends on sales tax. We've been down 2% last year, an additional 2%. Is that correct this year or whatever, or projected? I mean, so that's hard. And I wish I didn't. I wish I had a balloon that could then manage.
That's why we're trying to come up with
It
some
would be
incentive
like,
ideas.
that would be like, man, if we had that, it'd be gangbusters. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it would make our life a whole lot
so-
easier. Get some folks in here probably.
Yeah.
That's just, those are the things that we've got issues with that, I know that's not something that's gonna probably happen this year or next year, because it's gonna be a process to try to get that all fixed and worked out, but that's just some of the issues that have been brought up.
How do we come up with the 60 for overtime? As let's say it went down, I mean, is it already, because it looks like
So-
it's way down.
So in the past, this city has budgeted kind of a 3-year average of what we've spent, right? So if you look at the numbers, and Mickey and I had a lot of conversations about this last year because I struggled with it. So, but I understand why she did what she did. So she budgeted $876,000 or $842,000 in salaries and wages and $81,000 in overtime. But if on October 1, we are fully staffed and we stay like that all year, $842,000 won't cover it. We need $1,129,567 to cover that. And then we adjusted
Overtime.
overtime based on that. So if you're fully staffed, your overtime is time out for vacation, time out for, we have 9
So it goes down.
officers. I can give you, a mock
So
schedule
overtime goes
based
down
on
there?
that many,
If
so,
you're fully staffed?
I would think, but it has not.
so, yeah.
But we haven't been fully staffed yet, have we? I mean, when's the last time we were fully staffed?
We were fully staffed week before last, for about 2 hours.
And that's an issue we also have to, it's not
Yeah.
fun. It's not fun.
But
It is an
if
issue we have to address.
And that's what I'm trying to do here, you know, I'm trying to, I mean, I get what you know, I talked to Police Association, what their concerns are, what they think could help, and I know that we can't give, you know, more money, we can't pay, you know, that, so what can we do to incentivize to want them to stay here? I'm just trying to get ideas of what we can
Yeah.
do, financially.
And
So
if
is that fully
council
staffed, do
wants
we
me to
expect-
work on that over the next 6 months, if that's your direction to
do
your
we
city
expect that to
manager.
go up, I guess, was my question? If we're
What?
not fully staffed, then people will need to
Well,
work.
now you
We'll need to
will,
work overtime, right?
again, you will take that from, so if you only spend 800 out of salaries, remember at the end of the day, you're looking for a zero bottom line. So it will, your salaries will offset it.
So
That's
we
not the
can pay
same, because
those
overtime
people-
is time and a half.
That are willing to work the overtime, we can pay them the overtime then.
Right.
Okay.
Well, there's something in the
Now,
budget,
there's-
maybe not, I mean, not an equal whatever, but I mean, there's,
Well, but I mean, there's people that are willing to work and people that aren't willing to work overtime. Some people just want to go home at the end of their shift, right?
We also have to be cognizant of how much overtime we're
so
having.
you're not intentionally
And how
wanting
does that, how does
You
that
do.
balance with
Yeah.
our recruiting rate?
That's where I'm
What are we
going.
doing
Right.
to actively recruit,
Right.
right? So as the chief looks through this and, you know, granted, he became chief about the time I came, right after. So he and I are learning together. It's not a
Yep.
perfect science.
Right?
It takes 2 years to really understand and then be able to say, I need this and I need this and I need that.
Sure.
And this is what I'm gonna spend it
That's all I
on,
was
right?
asking,
Because
that's all.
I'm a numbers girl. I don't want you to just say, well, I need $9,000 in training. What are you gonna spend $9,000 on? I'm happy to take that to y'all, but I wanna know what we're gonna spend it on.
Right.
So,
Well, I would, this is just me, I don't have a vote, but I would think that we would entertain an idea of how to come up and look at some ideas and some creative incentives and things of that nature,
We have to.
especially in this year where we are with the budget, and monetary wise. And I think the one thing that I don't think we can scrimp on, and again, this is just an opinion, is training.
amen.
So, I asked last time in the budget meeting about the car, that you said it's a one-time expense. So, is training considered a one-time expense?
is what?
That per
Training.
year, or,
Training.
I mean,
It could be,
How
but
could
then
we-
it's just one time.
I don't know, it's,
So not necessarily, because if you map out a training plan for your officers, right? And every year I have to have 40 hours of CEUs, that's not a one-time expense.
Yeah.
We have to have that money for 9 officers to have 40 hours of CEUs every single year, so that's not one time.
So is well, I guess the question should be, is the 30,000 in the budget, or is it coming from capital funds for the vehicle?
It is coming from capital funds.
30K, right?
for the car, yeah.
That was
That's
30,937,
what I-
so
Yeah.
that was a direction from council to try to
it runs
find.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think he was trying to see if he could use it for something else,
I
but it
was.
depends on where the money comes from. If it comes out of capital fund, it's a one-time thing. If it was
Right.
something out of the budget, then he could use it for
Sorry if I
something
wasn't
else in the
clear.
budget.
Correct. That money specifically comes out of, and that is a,
Put it
at
back
council's
into there.
request,
Yeah.
a nearly new, I Googled a Dodge Durango, a 2023, 2024 Dodge Durango with 5,000 miles. Was 29,997 at CarMax. Cash price, so.
And we definitely need that vehicle,
We
correct?
do,
We definitely need a vehicle.
we do?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got, my captain doesn't have a car at all. So you gotta find a car in a week if there's none there. My investigator's driving a 2016 Dodge Charger that's got 100 and something thousand miles on it.
This is what that
Stays in the
vehicle
shop
will
more than it
replace.
stays on the road.
But is it, if he's saying he's already missing a short
Well,
one?
that 2016 will come out because the maintenance on the 2016 is costing us more money than it is to keep. So
Got it,
it will replace that vehicle.
got it.
Huh.
Will we get a trade-in on that?
The reason we still have that
$8,000.
car is because we got the new Durangos and those were all supposed to go to auction. But then the motor blew up in the Lexus
Yeah.
that we got through the military, so at that point I had to pull one of them going to auction, so my investigators have a harder time.
As I mentioned to you, Mayor, today when you asked me that question.
Yeah.
That car will come out of service
Yeah.
because we're wear and tearing on it.
Yeah.
The next one that we have the biggest problem with is a 2020 that we bought, and that will be the next one that has to be replaced. We'll figure that into your long-term capital budget,
Sure. Okay.
so.
And on your statement with the population stuff, just to let you know, on August the 1st, okay, all of our flock cameras are up. There was 25,000 unique vehicles that came through this city on August 1st. Okay, that is a 25,000 different license plates. That's not one license plate reading the different ones. 25,000 different vehicles came through
Yeah.
this city.
But you can say half of
Because you have a
those
state
family,
highway.
right?
They
Yeah.
won't-
Is
I
that
mean,
those big
We have a
cars?
state highway that you've
Yeah,
got traffic
sure.
through, so.
Yeah, but you just talking about how many people come to the city. But I mean, like me and my husband, we have 2 vehicles, so you cut that half hypothetically, but that's still 12,000.
No, that's unique vehicles.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but he and I drive 2 different vehicles, right? So then that's when, you know what I'm
But that's
saying?
one time read per license plate. That's
Yeah,
not-
but I'm just saying that
you're
if we have
going out
different
of town
vehicles, you see what I'm
and
saying?
coming back to town and he's reading you twice. That's,
No, I know, but I just mean, we live here and I drive 2 different vehicles. Does that make sense?
So it's gonna count April in a truck,
Yeah,
and it's gonna.
each vehicle.
keep April in
Yeah.
a car, yes.
Yes, yes, that's what I'm trying to say, yes.
And visitors on the weekends,
Yeah.
and we're a major thoroughfare from that side of the lake to 175.
So as we wrap some of this up, I mean, is there anything that you can think of that you want to tell us as far as council goes right now, what you need? I mean,
I just.
speak now, forever hold your peace.
I need a car and I'm worried about my training budget. I mean,
Okay.
that's my main deal.
Okay.
And, you know, raises are always nice, but that's something
I
that we
get it.
gotta figure out on the
I
outside.
get
Well, I think, we had talked, a month ago or whatever, Angie will put together a case study of
We
whatever
talked
you want to
about
call
that.
that.
Looking at
Yeah.
over the last year, they were gonna do it last year, it never happened. So my commitment to council is that I will put together a pay scale of some kind with some comparisons. Sometimes it's hard to do right now in the budget, because not everybody has it up, and I can't really get what raises they're getting.
Sure.
October
So we do
1st,
that
it's a
in
year
6
old,
months, you
but,
say?
you know, we will
When?
work on that. We won't hire an outside firm. I'll do my best. Mickey and I will work on putting it together with some help from
Oh, I
some
know that
friends.
was
We just did that
time
with
consuming, though.
with permit fees is a perfect example. Lauren has spent the last couple of weeks putting together permit fees and fees so that we can discuss that with our ordinance review committee. So that'll be coming back to you. What fees or permits need to be adjusted, right? So, but we'll take that direction. We'll also map out training budgets better so we know what to expect. Because we don't just put $5,000 in there and spend it how we want. We need to know what that's going to and how is it benefiting our staff.
Okay, so where are we now with moving forward with what we've discussed
Well, I mean,
as the current budget lays?
right, but also, I mean, are we gonna, I just wanna make sure, like I said, I'm with you, I wanna make sure they have training budget, and I know we won't even know that answer until after you do your year end, so I don't know if we need to, I mean, I'm not saying we can't move forward with what we have, but I didn't know if we could, if that's gonna be an issue to reevaluate that or have that conversation.
We can reevaluate it at any time.
Reevaluate what?
If we have the ability to
Like the training,
reevaluate
cause we
it.
don't know how much, if any,
I don't even know if I'm gonna have to move it yet.
that's what I'm saying, if any,
Yeah.
then he has the whole thing, but
So we
if you-
we don't really know how short we really are.
But we just wanna make
So
sure.
we won't know that until December. And
Okay.
so you do a mid-year in January, you do a mid-year in March, April. So if you see in March, April that we know exactly what training has to be attended over the next year, we know exactly how much it's gonna cost, we know exactly how many hours each officer has to get and where is that gonna go. Then in your mid-year, if you wanted to
We
up
could allocate
that,
or
we
move.
could, we'll know better where our revenues are, we'll know
Right.
better where all of our fines and fees and permits are, so sure.
Is it keeping you from doing any training right now? Okay.
No, we're starting to do a lot of in-house.
Okay.
I've got an instructor. We've got outside UT coming and doing CPR stuff that we've got to do. Right now, we're fine. I'm not, this budget, we're fine. I'm not worried about this budget. This next
My coaches would love you because I would be so hands-on. I would be doing a lot of it myself as much as I could, but, I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with the training because it's one of the largest items in any city's budget and it is the most critical. And I just don't want anybody going without, I don't want anybody being upset, I don't want anybody having bad attitude about what we're doing, I wanna do, what's best for the department, and it is one of the most important, aspects of,
The only thing with this state fund is I've got to account for every dollar that's spent out of that. I've got to show how many hours of training for every dollar we spend out of that.
but you have record of all that,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes, because everything that we want out.
And Mickey has all that?
I send it states on there.
Yep.
deal.
I have the processing, I don't know.
So,
when.
and just to let you know, the money that the state sends us, this year we got 2 checks. Okay, last year we got 2 checks. That's the first time ever we've gotten 2 checks. Okay?
Why is
So
that?
this year we got one for $15.54 and then we got one for $18.99.
I spent about 2 hours trying to figure out why Leos did what they did. I can't answer that question, but I know somebody that can get me an answer and I will get it.
Because that seems like a real arbitrary amount.
No, it's about 1,800, they get about 1,800 a year.
Yeah, but every year it's like, 1767, 1349, 1480, 1200.
The state, I don't know.
Somebody figures that. I can make a few phone
So
calls.
that also doesn't
I don't wanna learn
help
them
you
that
when
they're
you don't
giving us
have a
2
full-
checks.
Full group, huh?
What happened with the pound?
Yes,
Now,
it did.
I have to
we
give
get
it-
paid charged
They-
twice as much.
So they direct deposited one, which is what they normally do, and then they mailed us one. So I don't know, I put it in the account,
I would
it's
say,
sitting
yeah, I
there.
would say, I don't know.
It's sitting in the account, if they want it back, I know where it is.
And this fund
But-
is to supplement
Yeah.
our training budget,
Can't
not
supplant
replace it.
city budget.
So, and it's what bothers me is with my budget gets down pretty close to that because I do know some cities that have had this pulled because they say, well, you're getting money from the state now, you don't need money from us. And I just don't want to jeopardize that.
I haven't moved money out of that account in several years, so
It's
I
called
think we're okay.
supplanting. You can't
Yeah.
supplant. Grant funding sometimes has the same issue. You can't, we got some, fire grants in my past life and we couldn't take all the money out because we couldn't supplant those dollars. That's what it's legally called. So can't pull it out and make it zero and only spend this. The city has to have teeth in that, so.
Right, and then we're only allowing 2,000, and is that a, whatever word you're talking about,
Once we-
enough to say we're not supplanting?
And we don't know, because we don't know how much training we need.
And then we have somebody writing grants this year?
I
Brittany's
mentioned
gonna
at the
allow
last
us to work on
minute,
that, yeah.
Brittany is gone this Thursday and Friday for planner training. This
So
will
you
be
can
the
get us a
first
list, or get the city a list.
Official course she's been to.
Now, is that just grants for the city, or, or as a whole?
She will coordinate,
for
she
different
will work
departments
with
and everybody
every department, that will not be her only job, her primary job. But a system that works is a single person to help wrangle, for lack of a better word. So instead of Nikki applying for grants and Brian and you, and nobody has the same information, Brittany will be, and that is kind of what Mike's intended position was before I started, was to kind of be the wrangler, get it all in one place. We have a GLO, we have ARPA we work with, and there's like grants.gov, there's all these different sites. So, when she has a down day at the front desk or in her office, she'll go out and search and, hey, this is out there, and send it to Chief and say, hey, Chief, what do you think? One message. We put together one message. It will also eliminate us attempting to apply for grants without all the proper paperwork. Parks Board has done it. We've done it with FLOC. We send a grant in, we don't have a council resolution. I can't make that up. I have to have council approve that.
So they're working on getting all that organized, so we can do that.
So,
but
yeah,
it's not
that's the
for
goal.
today's stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal. It will take Britt some time, but she's super excited about learning it, so she'll go
Based
to,
on how quickly she's gotten comfortable in
yeah.
her role.
It'll be
I have no
October,
doubt.
November before I can get her at a training. It's a couple-day training to do that. But, I thought the planning training she's doing this week is important enough. Shannon didn't have that money. I said, take it out of my budget, I'll figure it out. Because it is important that she understand the bigger picture, right?
Yep.
Of how planning works. And she's
She's also asked for
done an
that.
amazing
She
job.
wants to do more, so
She's
I
done
think
an amazing job.
That's a big deal also. It's not like Angie suggested to, she said, I'd like to do.
She
more."
came to me.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
Brooke, I did wrangle into helping with the community center. And Brooke constantly says, what does this mean? And I say, I don't know, but you have a job description. You have a job description now, so leave me alone. So,
All right, so are we good as we are?
that's up to council to decide. If you are good as we agreed to last time.
Rita? Yes? Jay?
Do I agree with it?
Okay, you're a no. Bobby?
Yeah, you can't squeeze any more.
Yes.
So we need.
I mean, as long, I still want us to look into things, but, but yeah, I can move
Yeah.
forward with what I
I'm
have.
talking about for the purposes of this meeting and this
For the
budget
purposes-
right now, so we can move
This budget, and
on.
I will take that direction from council.
Do
We
you
will
not
look at
see
the
any problem?
salary.
Present it. Tuesday.
No, I'm good with that. I said, I mean, it's never a final, I mean, you can always change anything.
Well, sure, we have a mid-year.
Yeah,
We can always-
yeah.
Well, we
But I
can do
want
that
to-
before then. We don't
can amend
typically
it
have year-end
anyway.
numbers till December, so we don't really know where everything shook out because of accrual accounting, it takes us a little bit, but, and this is coming and that's coming, and so.
All right, well, if there's no further, then the meeting's adjourned.
Is this yours? I think that's yours.
If
Yeah, turn it off.